We are live. All right. Well, I am super excited to be here with the ever interesting, ever funny, ever hilarious, and just incredible Mel and Brad. So, we have been looking forward to this, and I would love to be able to share their story with you. They are some of our rock star clients who just have such an amazing story to tell from the heart. And you can tell already they have an incredible sense of humor because humor is also a great way to learn and to grow. And we've had a ton of fun as we've also been learning new skills, changing their lives in a positive way. So I'd love it if you each could tell our beautiful folks who are watching a little bit about yourselves before I start to dive in with some questions to share your story.
I'll go first.
You go first. I got to get a bigger boat.
So Brad and I have been married for 13 years.
Mhm.
And we recently opened up and to borrow some language from some people in the group. We decided to front load our success. We read your book. We loved it. We loved everything about it. We joined your group and booked that call, changed our lives. And here we are. we
You pretty much said it.
Yeah,
I mean,
did.
that's the. I mean, that's pretty much the story. It was. What are we gonna do? It's
Yeah.
like I'm gonna Google it, and then we started, and then I went, "What do you think of this?" And she's like, "Well, call her. It's free. Set it up. Let's set it up." And she set it up, and then the rest is history. So
You two are amazing. So funny and hilarious. So good to know that Google worked and that you found my book, which I'm glad was really helped you already. So I'd love to understand to help our listeners, because a lot of people who are watching, they may be in some challenging situations. They may be dealing with a lot of fear and anxiety and uncertainty of the unknown. I'd love it to help you both be relatable. What were some of the struggles that you had right before you reached out to me? I know you said you were opening up. What were some of the struggles and the challenges that you were having?
go ahead.
Okay. So uh, we had previous to us being married, I had been into previous relationships that were polyamorous, and they didn't go well. So by the time I met Brad, I was ready to try the monogamy box. So and we did successfully. Like, Brad's my best friend. We did very well for almost 16 years. And over COVID, lots of people lost people. Lots of people became isolated. We all kind of, everybody, as a planet, we all had to do some self exploration, and it was really awful. And but in some ways, it was really wonderful. I came to a place where I realized that I was not being my honest self, and
Mm.
when I came to Brad and told him that, it scared the heck out of him. And I didn't know what to expect. I fully expected he was going to be like, "What?" But he wasn't, because he's amazing. He was like, "Well, let's figure this out. What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And it wasn't a "what are we going to do?" like, let's divorce. It was a "what are we going to do so that we don't have to?"
Mm.
And I'm very, very lucky, because a lot of women would not have had, a lot of people would not have had that reaction from their partner. So it just re-solidified that I had married the right person. That he was like, "Okay, well, I see that this is how you are, and so let's see how we can deal with it."
Mhm.
I'm sure it wasn't those words.
I mean,
Mhm.
there was a few Yosemite Sam moments, but
Mhm.
overall, well, we're still sitting here, and we're sitting here closer today than we've ever been in the 16 years,
That's true.
since we met.
Incredible. So beautiful. And how about for you, Brad? Like, what was your headspace at? What were some of your big concerns when you right before you reached out to me or you started looking for help?
Well, Well, honestly, I mean, I actually started the whole. It's kind of funny. I instantly, when she talked to me the first time about it, and we both went through the losses. She has lost people. We lost friends that I knew, but were closer to her. That
Mhm.
she's no longer than me, and I lost my sister during all this. And it was just.
Wow.
So when she came to me with that, I guess I I instantly was like, okay, I gotta go find me a date. What's a good website to go find a date or somebody to talk to? So I have someone to talk to too. It was kind of like a tit for tat for me. I felt like in my head.
Mhm.
But then again, at the time I had no skills and I was totally on the emotional side of my brain for weeks. Just
Mhm.
straight weeks I was on the emotional side. I don't think there was any real logic going into a lot of it and in panic mode. And so I made a lot of mistakes.
We both did.
And then that kind of led up to during all that I had this lucid moment to look up to try and see what's out there, look at
Mhm.
books, whatever. I was looking at the research and your name kept coming up, and so I finally just went to the website and I was reading it, and I believe I went and did the free thing so I could see what some of the material was before I talked to her, whatever was available at the time. And then I
Mhm.
got you to see about, and then it went from there. And we set up a call,
Read the book.
and yeah, I did the audio book, and she read it, and she reads faster than I do audio. That's crazy. But
And you all were patient enough to find the Easter eggs at the end of the book. Don't say what they are.
Yes.
Star Wars. Oh shit! I'm shit. Rewind. Rewind.
For anyone who's listened to the book who stopped it before you got to the Easter eggs at the end, I invite you to do that. It's very fun.
I actually I listened to the last chapter of the book rather than reading it because I was doing something, and I found the Easter eggs before he did.
Yeah,
I was
she
like,
called me.
"Did
I
you
was in the
listen to
truck.
the end?" And he was like, "Well, no, it was just the credits and stuff, right? Do I have to?" And I was like, "Yeah, you need to go back and finish this."
And so
That
I
was
went
lovely.
and played it again and played the end part, the last however many minutes. And I was like, oh, then I called her back. I was like, oh, yeah, I totally knew that was there.
Well, and someday when you come visit us, I'll show you the exact closet where I recorded that. But it's nice to know somebody enjoyed my sense of humor, but even it also, I'm sure, gave you a little bit of an insight of, we're going to work, but we're also going to play. It's going to be
And
it's
that's
going to be some
exactly what
fun work.
happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
have to have the humor, Kitty, because, well, and you know this from the working with us for this, how long now?
Mhm.
I have to have the humor with the masks and things like that. It puts me at peace and gets me into because I was freaking out before this, I mean, before this call. And I'm like, why am I freaking out before this call? You're not doing anything different, really. And it's like, but I was like, well,
Mhm. I'm so glad that you felt at ease on that call. And another question I have for you is, what are maybe some other things that may have been going on for you at that time that were struggles that maybe got revealed possibly from the process, or anything that you're willing to share? Like, for example, I've worked with people who have suffered with ADHD, or sometimes people have had depressive episodes. Like, is there anything that you would care to share that you feel comfortable sharing?
Um, well, yeah,
Only if you want.
I feel comfortable. I am concurrently, I am also bipolar. So, imagine that, if you will, bipolar person who I'm constantly taking on new things and new phases and this and that, and I'm either up or I'm down. So a lot of times the things that I'm going through, family especially will think that it's a phase.
Mm.
or that they want to fix whatever's going on with me, or this is another thing that Mel is doing, so at the same time as this is going on, I'm grieving like the death of one of my best friends. I am bipolar. I mean, I'm bipolar. I don't like to use it as a crutch, and I don't use it as an excuse for anything, but that's a big volatile cauldron of stuff going on. And it's just it is a struggle to be able to express what's going on with you while you're dealing with so many different things and know what to focus on. And I had no idea what I needed to focus on was all of it.
Mhm.
Thank you, Kitty. You know, and so we had spent so much time, I guess, but for the two of us, we had spent so much time dealing with my bipolar, dealing with my grief, dealing with his grief, dealing, with these other things, that when this new thing popped up, it was like a grenade in our laps. Not
Oh, wow.
mine, obviously, but that's how it felt like to him. It was like I just pulled the pin and walked away, and that wasn't what I was intending to do. But as the kind of person that I am, I don't do anything halfway. There was no hinting. There was no like, hey, let's do this gently. It was, hey, boom. And again, I'm so lucky that he speaks Mel. So yeah, there's a lot, and more than just what we decided to go forward with in our marriage was addressed through the modules that I did with you. I will, as a multiple neurodivergent person, I found so much value in what I learned from you that helped not just us, but me, coming from where I was coming from. I don't mind sharing that I am bipolar, I am ADHD, and I am, I do have spectrum disorder. So, it's sometimes these things, sometimes everything feels like it's happening to me alone. And the coping skills that we've been developing, I realize things aren't happening to me. They could be happening with me or for me and for us. And, and so, and me, I'll keep talking if you don't stop me.
Well, I'll stop and just say, thank you for sharing that, because that is so relatable. As you two know, part of my story, I've suffered with depression in the past. I've navigated infertility. So we all have our things. So I really appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that. And I literally just got off a call today with somebody who was telling me all the different things that they also have going on. They're like, I might need to take care of that first before I come work with you. And I just explained to them that a lot of the work that we do helps you as an individual, even if you have things like that going on, and it helps your relationship,
Oh, yes.
Yep.
I would recommend anybody go through the modules and things that you gave us. I got so much individual value as well as couples value. I mean, really, Kitty.
And in a lot of ways, the poly portion of it, and that the couples communication and this kind of stuff that I've learned comes naturally because of the work on myself through your program.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So a lot of that has come more natural, and it just seems like the right thing, and it flows right because I've done this work on myself and I'm focusing on myself. So these other things come easier and I can flow with it. So, hey, like you said, I'd recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
Even individuals, it's good for them.
But definitely poly people.
Or people who are opening up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And a couple of questions before we dive a little further forward was, so you went on Google, you found my book. Was there anything else that the two of you have tried before you did that? Or was that kind of like the beginning of the journey?
We read a bunch of books.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We read a bunch of blogs. We had a lot of aggressive negotiations.
Yeah. The thing about all the blogs and the books and that is they're all opinionated on a certain side. So a lot of them, what we found. So if she dug and found this and said, you should read this, then I would intentionally go and find something that was counter to it. Just because it's out there. It's there.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is going to come down to a lot of the poly or non-poly or monogamous, non-monogamous will come down to individual decision on what works for them.
Yeah. Having a community, having your community of people to talk to was a far bigger, not bigger, but better resource than the digging that we did on our own, because there's that interchange there. We're able to talk to other people with opinions rather than just read their opinions. And we connected so closely with some people in the program. I mean, we formed, I think, some lifelong friendships through your program with people that, we may or may not ever get to meet in person, but man, I hope so, because they're just some dynamite people and so open and so loving, and knowing that other people are struggling the same way that we are. There's no book that can, you know what I mean, that rest that you can know it, but you don't know it.
I'm more apt to intentionally not listen to a coach or a teacher, because they are simply that. Just because I'm sorry, I'm a shithead. And that's just my opinion. I was the same way in school. I've always been that way. I do it with my bosses. It's like, if they have this opinion and they're telling me one thing, I'm going to do the exact opposite because they told me to. But coming from someone else in the group, a peer, or someone who's in the same situation I am, it takes on a different form for me. And then I'll actually listen to it and I actually absorb it. And so it created this whole all around like vibe for me that I was comfortable in. And it made me want to open up, and it made me want to be honest, and it made me want to talk without any prodding. So that, if anything, on the call last week, I was griping that we need more people. We need more momentum. We got to get the momentum going.
That's good to hear. Well, you got some more folks that are coming alongside you. So
calls are something that we we started looking forward to.
Oh yeah.
Started schedule.
You're referring to, for the folks that are listening,
single one.
Just for the folks who are listening, you're referring to the weekly Q&A calls where there was other people on the call.
Yes. And at first, I have to be honest. At first, I was like, so wait, we're going to be doing group calls, not just calls with.
I know.
And we were like, I don't know how good that's going to work. But it was, and then the magic happened, and it was fantastic. And I understood as soon as I was in that first group call, I was like, oh, this is why. So it was amazing. And it's now that we're in the Momentum program, we look forward to that call that we get on the Wednesdays, and it's fabulous. It's fabulous. And I've already met people that didn't go through the program at the same time as us that are fabulous. So I'm super stoked about Momentum.
That is so cool.
I was
and for folks who are listening, Momentum is if you want to continue working beyond the kind of main core way of working together. That's what they're referring to as well. But thanks for sharing that. So some of your skepticism, Mel, was that you were like, what is up with these group calls? I don't know how that's going to work. Were there any other skepticism that either of you had before you actually started?
She also thought it was going to be an easy A. I figured I'd say it before you.
I did. I've said it 100 times.
She was telling me that long before. She's like, well, since I'm farther along on this, I got this. This is for you. And we can, and then we got in there and she's like, this isn't going to be easy.
And it wasn't. It was not easy. But I was, we went into it and I was like, I will do anything to maintain what we've got. I didn't know I was going to improve what we got, but we did. But I went into it. I know, right? But I went into it going, I don't know if this is, just a really good sales pitch or what, and so when I sent the first email for support in, and I don't know what I was expecting. I'm not a cynic by nature. He is, but I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get some cookie cutter answer or whatever. Kitty, the first email I got from you was not like a couple of sentences. It wasn't even like a paragraph. It was like 4 paragraphs, and it was very detailed and very personal. And you could see that it was not just some standard,
wasn't a cookie cutter
stamped response. It was that moment, that first email response I got from you, that I realized this shit's for real.
Yeah, because we compared them. Look mine. Yeah. We compared them.
Yeah, because we said it
and
at
we were
the same
like,
time.
Let's see if this is a cookie cutter.
Yeah,
she was sending us the same time.
I freaking love this.
And it was like, oh, this is very individual based. You shouldn't read my thing.
It was wonderful. That was when I realized, that was like when they when they pull down the bar on the roller coaster, that's when I knew it was a real ride, not a kid ride. You know what I mean? Like, oh hell, now we're in for it, you know?
Uh,
And
I love that you told me that. I never knew that you like got your emails and started comparing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That was so
and
funny.
it was
Like, totally, that's for me.
yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, and so it
Well,
was
we had lots of
very-
discussions about that. About should we share everything together,
Yeah.
or should we keep it individual,
Yeah.
or how do we go about this? Because you know, and that
'Cause
goes
you
with
made-
polyamory in general, I guess. And it's like, but then we just decided we should just share everything because we're talking about it anyways. It's like,
true.
so what does it matter?
It's true. There was
Right,
one
right.
email. There was one email where I was at first I was so mad at you, Kitty. Because you
Oh,
sent,
I remember.
you sent him exactly what he needed to hear, but I was under a misconception at the time.
Oh.
So when you were like, "What?" He sent you a message. Do you mind me sharing?
Well,
And
yeah.
So he sent a message saying, you know, I think that my rate of progress in this is not as fast as Mel's. You know, and I worry about, am I dragging my feet, that kind of thing. And you were like, well, what's the rush, Jelly Bean, right? And I was like, damn it, Kitty, I'm here. Wait, you know, but I didn't realize at the time. See, I thought something completely different. I thought that he was asking because he wasn't sure if he could be with me at all. But what he was wondering was he wasn't sure if he was polyamorous, not that I was on the chopping block. And so that was my misconception. So, but there was a time where I was like, damn it, Kitty. But then after we talked about it, I was like, oh, she told him exactly right. You know, I mean, like there has not been a single time that you didn't say something that made us go, oh, duh, you know, and just really like make us think. And it was not an easy A, but I got an A, but it was not an easy A.
Yeah, you did get an A.
But I'm highly offended by it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's what a good coach does, right? A good coach isn't there just to pat you on your head and keep telling you you're doing a good job, right? A good coach is going to sometimes be kind instead of nice, and kind meaning tell you what you need to hear. And in that case, a lot of people who come to do this work, a lot of time there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of beating themselves up. So much of this work is to remind people, hey, do you know you're the one that's beating yourself up? Like you can stop doing that anytime you want. And so that's probably where some of that was coming from. And I love too that both of you are so receptive. You are so coachable, as we say. You keep an open mind. And so even though you were skeptical in the beginning, you still kept an open mind. And that's partly why you got such incredible, amazing results, like almost immediately, which goes to my next question. So what would you say, like, even in like maybe the first like 2 to 4 weeks were some of the immediate, like amazing results that the two of you noticed, or some shifts that you saw that you would care to share?
Oh man, I was like a light bulb moment machine throughout this program. But I think that's due to right at the beginning, as I started doing the modules and started looking at stuff and working, you know, in the program and on the actual stuff. I think I reached a point where I realized I was basically a clean slate.
Oh, nice.
I was going to be a clean slate because I started associating and looking back to things in my past and stuff and all these things. And I realized that, to be honest, I had no freaking clue who I was up until, you know, today. So it's like, I kind of was at that point. I said, well, I can either let it consume me or I can freaking, you know, do something about it and become someone, you know, become who I want to be. Then I can recreate myself. So I just kind of became a clean slate and started trying to, you know, chop down trees at that point and work my way through the process. And so I started having all these moments because I would go, oh, that's why. And oh, look at that. And that's neat, you know. And, it was driving her nuts at some points, I'm telling you, because she's like, oh, you just had another, oh my gosh, you just had another moment. I'm like, yeah. Oh, nice.
I got super excited for you.
You did. You've been so supportive, hon. I mean,
Brad blossom, like anybody that knew Brad back before this whole thing, you know, Brad's always been a fun guy. He's always been, you know, super smart and very charismatic, but you know, but he's an introvert. Can you believe that? He's an introvert. Yeah, right. But then, but Brad's, and this is just my perception. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but Brad's whole focus is family and work, and there's not a whole lot of room, has not ever been a whole lot of room in there for Brad. So seeing Brad make room for Brad, I mean, it's like, it's amazing. It's been amazing. And the more comfortable and confident he has become, the more, just delightful it has been to spend every day with him, and to know that, like, that he's my best friend, he's my husband, he's the love of my life. So
Thanks, I'll pay you that 20 later. Oh, you just raised the price for you, Shiloh.
But so just seeing that I've never seen somebody grow so much in 9 weeks ever.
Wow.
And I've been witness to a lot of people coming into their own. I've never seen anybody grow like this man right here.
Well, you're no schlub either, babe.
Oh, I know. But
I was gonna say, yeah, that is so sweet. But both of you grew like leaps and bounds, and it was literally like every single call, because we have the 2 calls a week. I'm like, what's going to happen in the next 2 days? Oh my God, they have another huge epiphany. This is amazing.
Hey, all it takes is the right catalyst, and you have lined up is catalyst, and if you do the modules, because I wasn't going to go into this and not get my full money's worth out of it.
Oh, yeah, I know. She said that.
I was like, I'm going to soak up every bit of everything that this woman has given us. And we did, man. Like, we prioritized the work. It was like, are you doing your homework? And it kind of became a little bit competitive, because I'm not.
I was like, well, I'm on module,
Yeah,
you're on
in a lot of the modules, it says, hey, email what you think about this, or email this here. And so I took that seriously. And sometimes I would stare at my laptop like, I don't know what I'm going to write here, because I know what I'm thinking here, but I can't get it out, and what if it's not done perfectly,
Oh, yeah.
And when it came to boundaries, man, I threw stuff across the room. I was just like, I don't know how to do this. And we went out, we bought the book, and it's like I didn't know. I'm like, I don't know how to phrase this. I don't know what this means, and it was, just more than once I got really super overwhelmed. But the stuff that was the hardest was the stuff that helped the most. The stuff that I might have in the past, if I hadn't been paying for it, I might have been like, oh, I'll go do that later. No, I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I did. And I'm so glad that I did. And something that you said was like, hey, this doesn't have to be, this doesn't have to be how it stays. This can be a work in progress. That, because in the past, I've always been a perfectionist. I'm not going to turn in anything unless it's perfect. And then you saying like, it's a journey, and Brad would echo that. He'd be like, you can change it later. It's a work in progress. These things are constantly changing.
First draft.
Exactly. And so I allowed myself to not have to be a perfectionist, and it just started coming,
Wow. So beautiful.
Perfect's an illusion anyways.
Exactly. It's perfectionism is a myth. Absolutely. And it's another way that we beat ourselves up. Oh, look at me. I'm not perfect. Right. So it's probably about giving yourself some grace and some empathy. And again, we're having like some people for holding your space for you and giving you that accountability to keep reminding you of that. Because otherwise people might quit before they right when they're about to have that breakthrough. So
there were some times I wanted to quit.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. I never said anything to you, of course. But
clearly.
But I was like, but I was determined too. I'm like, if she's doing it, I'm doing it, damn it. There's no way I'm gonna let her win this one, And but I was just, because I was getting so overwhelmed, right? With all the work stuff and this and everything, and it's a lot. And I threw myself way over into it, right?
Yeah.
And
I honor that.
And then I reached a point where I kind of had to step back a little bit, because I'd just thrown so much into it. I was not giving as much into work like I needed to. And it was like, but but I learned a lot through it, though.
You learned how to balance that too, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also again giving yourself some grace, like wherever you were at, that was perfect for you at that moment, and you still have all that information that you can be referencing later. So, so incredibly proud of both of you, and just delighted to hear the story, to hear you laugh. I've missed you. So, I'd love to have you share with everybody, like, where would you say you are now on that journey that you find yourselves on? Like maybe just a little bit of, like, we know now where we started from, like, where are you at now?
Well, let's see. Well, we started from a place of what are we going to do, this week, we had gone through the program, having a couple of weeks in momentum. I spent a weekend with you in Tucson at a polyamory conference that he attended virtually as well. We've met some really wonderful people. Sunday, we went to a poly speed dating event. So we are, yes, it was crazy cool.
Technical difficulties. The stress on that one.
There were technical difficulties,
I'm so tired of IT problems. This is 2023.
I'm so proud of you for doing that.
Yeah. And what was crazy is that, like, the day before, he was really anxious and nervous about it. And I was like, it's going to be fine, baby. It's going to be fine. On the way there, I was anxious and nervous about it. See, easy A, right? Whatever. And he was like, it's going to be fine. We're already halfway there, so.
And that's kind of what I was doing. I was like, we're doing it now. Too late. We're not turning around now.
And it went really, really well. Technical difficulties aside. This later on this week, we're going to be doing a new member orientation for another polyamory group in the area. So we're trying to get some contacts in the area, some people.
That's great.
Because it's nice to have people you can talk to that you don't have to be like,
Yeah.
So I would say that we go from a place of Brad being like, what? To Brad being like, it's going to be all right. Let's go meet some people. And then
after I'm like, what?
And that's it. That's in the space of like 3 months. So if that doesn't show you progress, I don't know what does.
Yeah, you were like here, and now you're like all the way over here. It's incredible.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's bonkers.
It is bonkers. It is bonkers. And I love, one time I remember, Brad, that you said that this whole process, it's not like somebody's telling you exactly what to do or how to live your life. It's really myself and the team, we're giving you the tools to figure out what living your most authentic life looks like for you, and how to kind of solve some of your own issues that come up. So I like to say, we're not giving you a fish, we're kind of teaching you how to fish, and then guiding you and giving you help along the way if you need it. You're just like raising your hand, like, could use some help over here. And then there's always somebody to give you a hand, whether it's myself or my team or one of the beautiful people that you met by doing this work. So you really become part of a family. Anything else you'd like to add just about where you find yourselves today on your journey, or maybe anything you're excited about?
I still today don't know whether I'll be poly or non-monogamous, monogamous. I still don't know, but then I realized it doesn't matter.
And that's why I said that day, what's the rush, Jelly Bean? You don't have to figure it out right this second.
Until I have the data to where I can make an educated decision on things, I can't really rule it out or rule it in. So it's like, why am I getting all stressed out and worried about something? And, and then when it happens, I can make the decision at that point. I'll see how I feel, and I'll go from there. I've got support. So, and I've got you guys, and I've got a great group of people, and so I'll figure it out. We're going to be fine.
That's awesome.
I'm fine.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for everything. And here I'll just start to wrap up with you both and just say, do you think this was worth the investment? And would you recommend this type of work for anyone else who is struggling in their relationships or even in their identity, and they're trying to figure out how to live their life that makes the most sense for them, even if they're coloring outside the lines of heteronormative monogamy, or even if they're monogamous in a lot of cases?
I'll take this one. Because I would recommend this program to every single person I know I have been. I would recommend it to people who are by themselves. I would recommend it to people who are in a monogamous relationship.
We recommended it to people at the speed dating thing.
Yes.
Who's been doing this really for years. And we recommended it. We were like, oh, and they're like, oh, I haven't heard that one. And we're like, well, let's talk about that.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Because, Kitty, here's the thing is your book is called The Jealousy Survival Guide, but jealousy is not the only emotion that I learned coping skills for. I would recommend this to anybody who is looking to deepen their love for themselves, for their families, for their partners. I came into the program with ego, not confidence. I left the program with confidence. And there's a big difference. Anybody who's known me for any amount of times, Darth Mel, hey, that was a persona. But those people now know me, Jedi Master Mel, and that's not a persona. That's me. I have stepped into being a superhero, and I have fallen in love with myself in a way that I have never in my life felt about myself. I've always been filled with self-doubt, with I'm not good enough, I can't adult, I'm, I don't finish things, or, thank you. I struggled with a lot of things, and I tried to fill the holes with all kinds of different things. And the hole I needed to fill, I have been able to, I'm not going to say that I'm done filling that hole with love for myself, because it's an ongoing process. I'm still learning to love myself, but in learning to love myself, in this self-care, these are your boundaries. This is what you want. All these modules that and these tools that you gave us, I can stand it. It's a feeling, it'll pass. All these tools that we have, gave me love for myself and acceptance of myself for the first time in my life, and made me fall in love with my husband more than we were in love before, but I am more in love with this man now than I have been ever.
Wow.
And,
I'm pretty badass.
You are pretty badass. But so I get a little choked up, but, I mean it when I say that, could I have done this work on my own? Sure. Would I have done this work on my own? No, I wouldn't have known where to go. I didn't have a map. And Kitty, you gave me a map, and I will forever be grateful for that.
Wow. So incredible. Anything you wanted to add there, Brad?
No, she's absolutely right. I remember being like a few weeks in, just like 3 weeks in the program, and I said to her, it's already paid for itself.
Yeah.
And so it was like, it was worth it. It was because of the value that we were getting. I was like, I'm forever changed already. I mean, even if things stop today, I'm in a better place than I was yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. And it's because of the tools in front of me and the things. And because, to be honest, you and your team, B and Tracy and everybody, you give a shit. And that matters a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We could tell, you could tell when someone actually cares or is just telling you what you want to hear and just throwing shit at you.
Yeah.
And you guys actually care, and you get vested, and that makes me care and be vested, and it makes me give that extra effort on things into myself, and you get out of this what you put in it. If you really want to change, and you really want to do the work, and you really want to self-explore and your relationship and things, everything is there for you to do it. I don't use all the tools you gave me, but they're in my toolkit, and they're right there if I need them. Right now, I don't need every one of them.
And we use different tools.
I use different ones at different times. Right. I kind of have my go-tos, but then I have the others there, and I know how to use them if I have to pull them out. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what's great is you kind of loaded up my backpack, right? So I'm ready to go. In my backpack, it's like in the military, it's like my go bag. You set up a go bag for me with all the tools I need to survive in all the different environments that can come at me during the day. And that I can't put a price on that. To be honest, I never would have went and looked for this kind of crap in the first place. I just never would have. It's just not something I would have done. I've spent my whole life living in a mask. I don't, So it wasn't something I felt like I was the way I was supposed to be,
Mhm.
So you started me on that one,
You did
Wow.
good for you.
but
Wow.
I'll quit rambling on here. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's so beautiful, so beautiful. Well, I am deeply, deeply honored to, first of all, having met you two. I met one of you in person. I know I'm going to meet the other one in person. So that's magic. It's not, you've heard me say it a million times, but once you become part of this family, I really mean it. You become a part of this family for life. So I consider you both a part of my family and this community in a huge, massive, massive way. And I'm just so grateful every single day that you reached out and that you said yes to yourselves. You said, yes, we are worth the investment of our time. We're worth the investment of the money. We are worth being happy, not just happy, but blissfully happy. And like you said, I love that metaphor of that you got tools to put into your backpack. That's awesome. And I love that you're continuing the journey so that you don't slide backwards or forget how to use the tools or not condition some of those muscles. So with that, I will just say to anybody who's watching, it all started with Brad doing some Google research and then him then finding my book and then booking this call that I'm inviting you to book right now. So if anybody who's watching is struggling, if you liked anything that you heard here and you're saying, I resonate with that, I could use help too, I want to get the backpack with the tools, then I invite you to go to this link. It's lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. It's super simple. You just pick a time that works for you. I'll meet you there and there'll be a brief form for you to fill out. And then we'll just have an honest conversation. And if I think that I can help you, we can talk about a plan to do just that. And if we're not a fit, I will let you know that. I'll be very honest and I will point you in the best direction for you. I know a lot of people, there's 215 podcasts so far. So there's a lot of people in my Rolodex. So if I don't feel like I'm the right fit, I will let you know. And you can see by our conversation, when the fit is correct, it is magic. So Mel and Brad, I am so just delighted and honored. Any parting thoughts you'd like to say?
Go ahead.
What? Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. I'll talk if you let me talk. I'll just keep talking. But yeah, I got a parting thought. Every person that we met in the program was a badass, and Kitty, I'm just super, super grateful. Even in that first call, that first free call, we got value out of that. So even if you know what I mean, like even if we hadn't made it past that first call, we would have. Well, no, there's no way we wouldn't have continued after that first call. Like after just getting to know you a little bit, I would just encourage everybody to invest in themselves because Kitty, you're amazing and the best cheerleader I could have asked for on this journey. And I would like to definitely call out B because she is phenomenal and just insightful. Everybody in the group, everybody on the team. I cannot recommend.
I was hitting up Gordon before this. He was texting me to get my confidence up before I came.
This group, this family, it's special. It's special, and the whole point of going into polyamory is to grow our family anyway. So let's keep growing this family as well, because it's a safe, beautiful place.
Yep.
So beautiful. Well, thank you both so much. Any parting thoughts from you, Brad?
Oh no, it's totally worth it. I say oh no and then I talk. That happens all the time. It is safe. It's a great program for people like me who are very cynical, and I am an introvert. I learned a long time ago how to be alone, and I'm good at it. And I'm totally okay with being alone. But so this kind of thing is very difficult for me. But God damn it, it was worth it. I mean, damn it, it's just super worth it. So much value. I feel so much better about myself and about us and just the future. Seriously, this isn't a pitch. I just really do. I didn't realize how lost I was or how that I was depressed. You don't realize that. And yeah, so thank you for that. And it's totally worth it. Even tough buttholes like me could use it. So.
Wow. Oh my God. So amazing. Well, you are just two of my favorite people, two of my favorite folks who came through the whole system. And you can tell all the hard work that you put into it because it paid off so beautifully. So Jedi Master Mal, Dude Pool, you two just rock. Thank you for being a part of this family. Thank you for your time, your energy, your love. And I absolutely cannot wait to hang out and party with you both in person and celebrate. Give you a nice big hug with your permission. And yeah, with your consent, right? Because I hear consent's important. But yeah, so beautiful. I will be watching this again too. And for anybody who's watching, I invite you to watch it from the beginning. These two rock stars are just have such beautiful hearts and such beautiful souls. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kitty. Same to you.
We love you.
We love you.
Mwah! Love you too. Goodbye, everybody.